What's up guys, Cliff here from the Sunday Drive, and today we're going to show you how to change the spark plugs on your N63 motor, and we happen to be working on this 2019 750. Now we're upgrading the spark plugs on this N63 750 because it's been tuned and you do want to upgrade to a step colder plug, so we're going to be going with NGK 97506 plugs for this. But the process is the same regardless of which spark plug you guys are using. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is pop the cover off. Now you do wanna make sure the car is cooled down because you're working with the engine. So make sure it's been sitting a while, throw a fan on it, cool it off. Now removing the spark plugs on this is actually really easy. We just have to remove the back air box right here. Now we do need to disconnect the two O2 sensors that are running along the top. So we're gonna just go ahead and pull these out of all these clips right here. That, and we're going to do the same with this one right here. All right. To disconnect the O2 sensor, you have a gray clip. You're going to want to pull this back. Now don't pull it back too far because it will come out, and then you can press down on it. Now this won't always release these, so what I like to do is take a pick tool on this side and lift up, and then you're able to slide that off a little bit further and then get it off. So again, you're supposed to just pull this back to release it and then push down, but having a pick tool to help leverage also helps. Now we need to disconnect this part of the O2 sensor. So underneath, there's gonna be a little lever right here. You can see that. You're gonna pry that to the side and then push that forward. So if you look at the back right here is that lever, and I'm just pulling that to the side, and then this will slide off, and do the same on the other side. Now you have two additional sensors here and here. It's the same style connection. You're gonna pop the light tan part back, or the white part, and pinch down and pull off. Now the one over on the driver's side is really tight to this line right here, so what I like to do is actually remove this once we have the air box a little bit loose. So we're gonna leave this in for now and pull that out in a second. Now we need to loosen the hose clamps right here. Now, technically, you really only need to loosen this one. However, I find it makes it a little bit easier, especially if this is the first time you're doing it, to loosen both of them. The rubber coupler right here, over time with the heat, kind of almost melds to the plastic. So getting this as loose as you can, it's a good idea. You can either use a flathead screwdriver or a 6mm socket on these. So I already have these loose. Now, if you're noticing it's really tight, you can either take a flathead screwdriver, or I like a pry tool like this, since the edges are a little softer. And you can slide that underneath the rubber, like so, and break that seal, and just work your way around to have that seal broken. You can see that we already broke the seal right here for this one, but just working that around makes it easier if you're having a tough time getting. All right, so now that you have your hose clamps loose and your rubber loose, we're gonna just lift this entire back piece up. Now keep in mind, we do have this connection right here still attached, so we're gonna have to loosen that once we're up, but this just pops up. You can pull the rubber off, we have that loose. Now that we're up a little bit, you can see we have a lot more clearance to remove this connection. So we're gonna pop that tab back and we're gonna lift up. All right, and that's up. Now before fully pulling the air box out, you need to disconnect the piping coming from the air filters up front. So what you're gonna do is reach your hand down here and squeeze on this, and then this will pull out. So you can see, once I have the airbox out fully, I'll show it, but basically you want to squeeze this connection and then the airbox will lift out. So let's finish lifting this out so I can show you guys that a bit better. And you're gonna have to do the same on both sides. All right. All right, so fully loose. Now over on this side, do be careful of this line, especially if you're working on an older car. These tend to get brittle. You can disconnect it, but you don't have to. There is enough clearance to get under here. And those clips you just heard were me disconnecting that air ducting coming from the front of the car. And this will just pop up, out. And you have your two sensors that you gotta fish out. And this will lift out like so. And when you go to reinstall it, just make sure this one goes to the passenger side. So the passenger side goes to passenger side, driver to driver. Now these are the clips I was explaining. There's one right here and the same type of clip on the other side too, and they go into the airbox. So you squeeze, pinch it tight, and then this will come out. All right, so right here we can see our coil packs. We have 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth one you just lift up a little bit on this duct, and your fourth one's right there. So let's show you guys how to remove the coil packs. So they're very simple. They have a clip mechanism that goes up like that, and once that's in the 90-degree position, you can pull the connection off, go into the coil pack. You just lift, pull out, and lift and pull out. And up here, just gently lift up on this. Again, don't pry too hard. You don't want to mess up any of the connections, but just gently lift up and remove the connection. All right. With the wires removed, you can then, what I like to do is take a pry tool again like this, or a screwdriver, and stick it completely through. And then you can use that as leverage. Just put your fingers on both sides and pull up and out, and the coil pack comes right out. Now keep these in order. You don't have to, but I always like to reinstall them in the same position they came out of. So this is really why you want to make sure the car is cool so you don't get burned. And then the last one's going to be a little trickier, but going on that side. Loose and pull it out. Now, whenever you're working on BMW, you're going to need a really thin wall socket, and if you have an F series, basically usually around a 2013 or newer BMW, they are 14 millimeter 12-point sockets. So we'll have these linked down in the description. These are magnetized, so the spark plug will come right out, but I really like these. They're swivel end, but you definitely need to make sure you have a thin wall one to fit down inside. Now these can be pretty tight, so make sure you have it fully on. And once it's loose, you can work it out by hand. Now once your spark plug is removed, make sure that you put the new one in right away. You don't want to leave this open because stuff could fall down in your motor and not be good. Spark plug one removed. And you can see how it needs that 12-point socket to go around. Again, just lift up that front air duct. And I'm going to throw a little longer extension on that to make that easier. You can just watch that hose running right there. Now here's the spark plugs we just pulled out versus the new ones that are going in. Now this car does have 20,000 miles on it, but the spark plug should last a little longer than that. However, because this car is tuned, we do want to go to that step 1 colder plug, which is why we're installing these. Again, these are NGK 97506s, and we'll have these linked down in the description. Now, if you are going to a step colder plug on either your N63 or your N55 or even your B58 motor, you want to gap these to 0.022. For a stage 1 or stage 2 like boot mode tune. However, always talk to the tuner to verify the gap for your particular vehicle. Now once you have it finger tight all the way, you want to torque these down, and while torquing everything on a vehicle might not be important, spark plugs are something you always want to torque because you do not want to overdo it or underdo it either. So for these, we're going to go to 23 Newton meters. There we go. It's not that tight, which is why a torque wrench is important. It's very easy to over tighten these, and then you risk breaking off your spark plug. Now we're going to go and reinstall the coil packs. So just gonna push in, and then just line them up with the wire, and just make sure you have them fully in. So really give them a good solid push down. Once it's fully seated, slide your wire in. So slide it in all the way until the clip starts to go down, and then use the clip to finish securing the connection. Done fully. This front one kind of goes the opposite of the other three because the wire comes in from the front side. There you go. Now go ahead and repeat the exact same process over on the passenger side. We already went ahead and did that, so now we're ready to put everything back together. So first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that the sound deadening in here is up in position. You can see it kind of goes around that back coil pack, so make sure that is around that and fully up. Now you're also going to want to make sure you have these wires pulled up so that they don't get caught under your air box. As you reinstall that, make sure you haven't got them twisted around any coil packs. Make sure they're nice and loose. All right, so feed your two O2 sensors through the air box. And you're going to want to kind of push this in towards the back a little bit. And again, make sure your wires haven't fallen down. This one over here did fall down, so just pull that up so it doesn't get caught. And position this. All right. The rubber to go back around here. It's gonna be a little bit of a challenge, which is where you might want to use a screwdriver. You can use something like this to help spread it around. All right, now you should hear it and feel it clip in right there like that. And you're gonna have to do the same on the other side, but let's get this around. There it goes. Make sure it's all the way around. We're gonna push our hose clamp back up. And now underneath, push your duct back in. A little harder on this side because of this line up top. This is probably the most annoying part of the whole job right here, is getting this to clip in. There it goes. So fully seat that in. You can hear it's going into some rubber blocks, so rubber grommets, and pops in place. Make sure your rubber hose all the way up. All right, and then get your air line on this side in too. Your air duct. Alright. Reconnect your two sensors right here. Clips in and then push the white clip in. Now I should have clipped this in before I had it all the way down, but I'll try to sneak it in. There we go. Clip. Very good. And now you can either refer to earlier in the video to see how these are routed, or if you want, snap a quick picture when you're starting. But these are gonna go back into all these little spaces right here. And then they go down to this right there, like that. And it just kind of tucks in there like so. And then you're going to simply come around, your plug up here. This is going to just slide in from the back, so towards the rear of the car. Just going to slide that in, it's going to click, push together, and then lock it. Double check all your rubber, make sure it's fully seated, and then you can go ahead and tighten up these hose clamps. And you are tightening down on plastic, so don't overdo these. Go ahead and reinstall your motor cover. And that's it, you're all done. All right guys, that's the installation all done. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you're interested in having us work on your BMW, be sure to shoot us a message. We'll have our contact information down below. And if you need any parts or tools, they'll be linked down as well. Thanks for watching.